Hey guys, today we're going to look at the Garmin fish finders, and we're going to specifically look at waypoints, how to add a waypoint, how to delete a waypoint, but most importantly, and one you don't hear a lot of people talk about, how to share a waypoint. Stick with me. Okay, we're going to go over to the bench in just a minute. We're going to start pushing buttons, and I'm going to show you everything about setting a waypoint, deleting a waypoint, or even editing a waypoint. But before we do that, I want to talk about the important part to me, and I think that's sharing a waypoint. All right, I have here the Garmin 4, the Garmin Striker 4, and then I love this because I can put it on my small two-man boat, or let's say if you're a kayak fisherman, you can put it on the kayak. But the Garmin Striker 4 also has a flasher. So now I can take it out to the lake in the winter and I can ice fish with it. So I'm ice fishing in the winter, I'm using it on the boat in the summer. Now the bigger boat, a lot of times we're going to use the bigger Garmins, whether it's a Striker 7 or it could be the Echo Map or whatever. But in this case we're going to talk about striker to striker. All right. So let's say on our big boat we've got our Garmin 7 on the big boat, and for ice fishing in our little boat we're using the Garmin 4. Now the key is you can share your information from one to the other. So if I'm out ice fishing and we've been out and we find a brush pile or a drop off, something that's been really good, especially maybe people have dropped in Christmas trees or something for these brush piles, we mark them and we set them as waypoints with the Garmin 4 so we can find them the next time we go ice fishing. But what about in the summer? Those spots could still be really good in the summer. So today we're going to look at how do I share the waypoints on this over to here, so when I'm out in the big boat in June or July, I can find those same brush piles. That's what we want to look at. To me, that's the part that a lot of people, you don't see anybody talking about sharing them. So that's what I want to cover. Let's go over to the workbench and I'll show you how it's done. All right, I've got my Garmin 4 set up here. Now I don't have all the power cables for the other Garmin, for the bigger one, because that's in my boat and I don't have it here. So we're just going to work with this one, but this will show you everything you need to know. First thing we're going to do, we're going to put it on simulation mode so we can show you what we're doing. We're going to go down to settings, going to hit the check mark. At system, we'll hit the check mark. We'll run down here to simulator, hit the check mark, turn it on. Yeah, that's okay. And away we go. Now I'll take the back arrow and we'll just go back. Let's go up and let's go with the regular traditional setting so far. All right, and here we go. Here's where we're going to have the regular thing. You're out in the boat, you're at an area you see, and it looks like this is going to be a good spot and you want to set a waypoint. So we come right down here in the corner and we're just going to hit that quick. We're going to hit waypoint, and there it is. Now you can see it's lit up edit waypoint. So what you want to do is hit, whoops, wasn't fast enough here. All right, we're at the waypoint. We're going to hit the edit waypoint. And now we're going to hit, it's blue, we're going to hit name. And let's see, we're going to up that a little bit. We'll just call it B022. I hit the check. And there we are. We've now set a waypoint at 022. We can put a symbol to it. If we want to make a symbol for it, we can. If we want to put any other comments or positions or stuff like that, we can do that. But at that point in time, once you've got it named and marked, you just turn around and go backwards. Now, because we're in simulation mode, this is not going to show up later on our map. So we won't have it show up. But that's as simple as it is to set a waypoint. Just hit the button in the corner, click yes. When you got a name, click the check mark again. Name it whatever you want. Say, hit the click again, and there it is, U023, and you've set your waypoint. All right, same thing's going to work. I'm at a flasher, and I'm fishing, ice fishing, and hey, look, this looks like there's a good brush pile down here. I want to mark it. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit that, going to hit the check mark. We're going to say, yeah, I want to name it. We hit yes, and we named it 2024, and we turn around and go right back to the brush pile we're at. So that's as easy as it is in order to set up your waypoints. Now, let's come back here, and we're going to go down here to the waypoint map. Hit like that, hit the check mark. Now I've got some waypoints on here that I've made at the map. Alright, so the waypoints we did just a minute ago will not show up here because, again, we're in simulation mode. But here are some waypoints, and this is what I'm talking about right here. We're going to say 3018, that waypoint right there, and let me move over to it. Now get a little bit more, get over by it. Now I'm going to hit the check mark. There it is, 3018. I can measure it, navigate to it, whatever. But most important to me is that's where I had a brush pile in the winter. We did that ice fishing with the brush pile, but now it's summer and I want to find it. So now's when I want to be able to move this over and share it with the other one. Alright? So let's come back here. We're going to come all the way back, and we're going to go down to user data. So let's go down to user data. Say yes. Here's my waypoints. Here's manage data. Let's go down to manage data. User data sharing. There is where you can share your data. Now I don't have two units hooked together, so it isn't going to work right. I don't even know if it would work right in simulation mode, to be honest with you. I just turned it off and on. But there you get over to user sharing data. And this is where you can connect here, your Striker 4 that you was ice fishing, connect it with a bigger Striker 7 or whatever you had on your big boat, and you can connect them together. You'll have to go to user data sharing here. You'll also have to use user data sharing on your other one when you put the two together. Then it can share the data that you stored on here, move it over to the big one, and now when you go out in the summer, now you can turn around and find those same brush piles that you were fishing over in the winter. All right, now there's one important part if you're going to share data, so hang on and let me show you that. Okay, I had to disconnect the unit here so I could get my power lines up so you could see them. There's your normal power. You got your black and your red wires. Those were what you were hooking onto your battery to get power to your finder. But with those, there were also two others. You can see I just got them doubled over and wrapped up because I'm not using them. But there is a brown wire and a blue wire. Those two wires are what you use to share data from one fish finder to the other. Now, here's the part that I thought was real unusual. I always figured, well, you brown to brown and blue to blue. No, that's not the way you do it. The blue wire is to transmit your positive connect. The blue wire is transmit your data from one to the other. So if I wanted to take data on the Garmin 4 and move it to, let's say, a Garmin 7, I would take the blue wire from the 4 and I would connect it to the brown wire from the 7. Then I'd take the brown here and connect it to the blue. So the blue wire is always the sending out or the transmission of the data. The brown wire is always the receiving of the data. So whichever one's receiving, and I know that's a little complicated, you can look online, there's other places you can find this online. But the data that goes, or the usually it's coming out of, you want the blue wire. The data is coming in, you want the brown. So I would have just thought blue to blue, brown to brown. Yeah, it turns out it's not that way. So that's the only tricky part to this whole thing, but is to have that ability to share any data on one. And let's go another step. You have it on yours. Your buddy takes his boat, he's up in another state fishing a lake, and he's marked some spots in that lake, and he comes back, and the next month you're going up. If he has a Garmin, you can connect your Garmin to his Garmin, and any information he had from that lake, he can share it with you, and now you have it. Now here's one key. And that should work for waypoints or even tracks. If he's a troller and he's got certain tracks he uses while trolling, you should be able to do that too. Now, I had a Striker 7, I now have for my main finder is the Garmin Echo Map. And the Echo Map doesn't have these wires and doesn't connect this way. At least the one I have, the Echo Map 6. So you have to look to make sure, do you have the proper wires that you can connect the two Garmins together. It is my understanding all the Strikers will connect. But the Echo Map, at least some of them I know, do not connect. Mine happens to be one of them. Now I want to go back and cover one thing with you, and that is we got how to put on a waypoint, and we put up how to share the waypoint. But I had somebody ask a long time ago, how do you delete the waypoints? Let me plug this back in. We're going to go back and look at that. Okay, I have this back at the waypoints map page. So you hit the waypoints map, and here are two waypoints that I set up earlier. Get over here by one. And we'll click, once I get over it, you can see it highlighted that number. So I'm going to click yes. There it is, it's waypoint 1032. And I'm going to click again. And right down here I can edit or delete. I'm just going to mark down one, delete, OK, and the waypoint's gone. Now let's go back to the map. Let's move over here. Here's another one, 1031. Got that one. Click yep. 1031. Click down. Delete. OK. It's gone. And you can just go back to your map. And any of them that you have, we can move down. Here's another one. We put in number 5017. I'll click on that one. Click it again. I can edit it if I want or delete it. OK. And back to the map again. And that's the way you can delete them, save them, however you want to set them up. But once you've got them saved, if you want to delete them, that's the way we get that job done. Well guys, that should give you all the info you need to share your waypoints, your tracks from one Garmin to another, which I think is a big thing that a lot of people don't do. Now, the Garmin 4 are real popular. I did a video a while back on how to set up and use this for ice fishing. I'll leave you an end screen over here. You can click to get to that video, or be honest with you, any other videos that I've done that show any of my reviews on all the Garmin fish finders that I've had. Hey, thanks for sticking with me. Subscribe to the channel if you would. Hope to see you again real soon.